Hello everybody, Symbiotic DOS here. I waited an awkward time. I thought the mission would start sooner than then. Anyways, hello everybody, Symbiotic DOS here today to continue my epic playthrough of why does the controller keep doing that? Whatever. Guess I'll just get used to a new jump button. So, I'm back with part 2 of X4. Now, okay, now I've watched many playthroughs of X4, and none of them do, or at least none of them that I've watched, do Web Spider first. And honestly, I don't even quite know why I do him first, it just is the way I've always done it. And okay, well, before I finish that thought, what the fuck happened, X? Why must Reploids fight each other? Why do these I have a trigger finger for the A button and can't finish my own damn thoughts. Get in this capsule. Alright, yeah. So that was a Dr. Light capsule, and if I would have read it and, you know, not mashed the A button, maybe we would have heard what Dr. Light had to say. Anyways, now we get some new parts. These allow us to, wow, I'm an idiot, they allow us to hover shortly in the air, kind of like Axel in X7 and 8. But not only that, they allow us to air dash. That is an amazingly helpful tool. Now, I chose to play as X in this game, just so I can show as much as I can possibly show, because it would have been weird to show you guys where the light capsules were, and then there just wouldn't be jack shit there, because we weren't playing as X. Although, yes, do let the record show I prefer to play as X. So anyways, back to my thought about Web Spider. Now, in this game, you're going to have to replay stages. The way all of the collectibles are laid out, you're gonna have to replay a stage or two. And this is just the route that kind of works for me. It's the one I always do. I start with Web Spider, which is definitely not the easiest boss in the game. I start with him, and then I work my way through to where I have to replay stages as few times as possible. I'm sure there are more effective routes, this is just the way I prefer to take. So, Web Spider. You know, people don't... Okay, well, actually it's pretty obvious if you've met me. I'm a terrible arachnophobe. So, like, you would think this boss would be terrifying to me, but honestly he's kind of cartoony enough to where I think he looks goofy, which was probably the goal when they were designing Web Spider. This stage is pretty straightforward. It's a lot of kind of winding pathways with these fish-like robots just kind of chilling. It's a lot of weaving pathways, and only here in the second act of the stage is where you'll see what I mean about having to replay stages. Because as we progress, we'll see that... Well, okay, we'll see annoying spider robots. You know, I really need to work on my pacing on when I talk. You see these leaves? If you played future Mega Man games, you would think you could burn those away, but you surprisingly cannot burn those away. Even though that would be a great little clue into what you need to do to get stuff later in the stage. As you see, more winding pathways, because, you know, why not? I thought the path was getting a little too open-ended. Let's make it more narrow pathways to flow through, and let's fill them with bees. And this is how you make a badass stage, everybody. I'm kidding, of course, I do not really think this is peak X4 design. In fact, it's hard for me to say what my favorite stage is. I think it's Magma Dragoons, but honestly, I don't fucking know. I kind of think they're all fun in their own ways. Maybe except this one. Okay, here. This, you see, my shots reflect off it, but with normal walls, well, okay, like that one, my shots don't reflect off of. That is because later in the game, we'll get something to remove that stump. Well, okay, you could not have to backtrack to this stage if you do other stages first. This is just the way I can take weakness order and stage order, and oh, that's another one you can burn. This is just the way I can do things semi-effectively. I'm not, like, a pro at this or anything. As you can see, I'm getting damaged a shit ton. I just do this in the way that I'm comfortable with. And, oh boy, I hate these spider enemies. I'm just gonna damage buff it. So, Web Spider stage is actually, when I first got X4, I saw, the usual obligatory ice boss, who, was big and slow, or at least looked big and slow to me. And I was like, you know what? I always take on the ice boss because they're usually big and slow or just really weak. Why don't I take on something else? So the very first boss I fought in X4, minus the intro stage boss, was this guy coming right up, Web Spider. And he's not very new player friendly. This isn't my first X game, but he's a little difficult. You've labeled us all as mavericks. I won't let you pass. Turn back now. Wow, that was short dialogue. So, he's not very beginner friendly because of how you have to move about to fight him. See, he'll do that. He'll come down, and then he'll spit a web at you. Those webs freeze you in place, and you'll take a really good amount of damage should you get caught in the web. And the first phase of the fight is just you jumping and avoiding that. Not too hard, it's just a little slow, and if you're not used to... If you don't kind of know to wall jump over the web, then you might have a little trouble going after it, because it has some really solid tracking. I think I've missed every single time I've tried, but you can get, in theory, 2 shots on Web Spider before he blows back up. And this should, now that he's at about half health, yes, it starts his second phase. Now, you can touch those webs in the background. They do not hurt you. However, if you make contact with Web Spider himself, you will have a hurty asshole. And, well, hey, that worked out. I took a little damage from the spider to take way less damage from the web. We'll call that a win. Anyways, he'll just crawl around the web he makes, and sometimes he'll spit out those annoying spider enemies that I kinda hate. And other than that, pretty simple boss. Despite me just saying he's not the simplest boss. Just watch out for the spider webs, and when he spits out the other spiders, cling to a wall, jump off. I just showed you how to get the leg part, so you can hover a little bit should you need to. But I think if you just keep in mind to dodge the web, you will be A-okay. Yeah. So, a typical staple of Mega Man is when you beat a boss, you get a new weapon. And the weapon we get from Web Spider, forgot his name for a second there, is not quite the webs he was firing at you. You fire like a wall of web in front of you that you can actually wall jump off of, and it's an okay weapon. I get annoyed with it because there's something you have to do with it later in the game that's kind of annoying, but I won't bother. I won't split hairs over that until we get to it, like 2 stages from now. So, that has been Web Spider. In the next episode, we will take on... I'm going to restart that. In the next episode, we will take on Split Mushroom. See you guys then.